Hey friends, happy Purim. So I hope everybody is doing great and having a terrific time. You know, on Purim you're supposed to get really drunk, so I did start without you. So l'chaim to everybody. I said my bracha before, so here you go. Cheers. Bottoms up. Okay, I'm not what I used to be. I remember when I could put them away in the younger days, but I can't put them away anymore. They put me away. They put me in bed for a week after I drink too much. So actually, this isn't real alcohol. It's just grape juice. I'm too young to drink, right? And grape juice for me is what? Baron Herzog Zinfandel. I think it's Zinfandel. I really am drunk. 12%. So everybody, I hope everyone's having a great time. It is so depressing to be home for Purim. I always loved going to the synagogue to hear the Megillah and to see the little kids in their costumes. And it's just, it is what it is. We got to make the best of it. I'm sure everybody has already said the joke about wearing masks all year long, so what's going to be different on Purim. But the masks have to come off sometimes, right? So they say in Hebrew, Nichnas yain yatsa sod. So the wine goes in and then the secret comes out. But what's even more interesting about that sentence is, and can I still do my math? Yeah, okay. Really, I'm drunk. So the wine goes in. Nichnas yain yatsa sod. So yain in Hebrew has the numerical value, yud yud nun, safit, has the numerical value of 70, and the word sod in Hebrew, Samech Vav Dalid, also has the numerical value of 70, because Hebrew is not just a random language, magical. Wine goes in, secrets come out. So what secrets do we have to share today? Unfortunately, I'm here all by myself talking to a TV monitor, and so I don't know what secrets to tell you. You see, if I would be live, which I chickened out to do live, I didn't drink that much, so I decided to pre-record it, because at the end of the day, whoever knows me, you see on Purim, really the mask is hiding who you are, so I'm going to take the mask off, and really I'm very shy, so whoever knew me in my youth knows that I'm very shy, and I guess everything in life is a little bit of overcompensating, but at the end of the day, who is the show for? So at the end of Purim, no matter what you are, you dress as a superhero or a queen or whatever you just fashion yourself to be for that particular moment. What are you when it all comes off and what's left of you? I remember I wrote a poem a long time ago when I was a young girl, and I wrote about how at the end of the day, or at the end of like a fashion party or wherever you go, and at the end of the day, you hang up that fancy dress, and then you wash your face off and all the makeup, and really your identity is going down the drain. I mean, that fake version of you is going down the drain. And then what do you have to look at the end, and who are you, and are you comfortable with what's left once it's all gone? Something very aggravating happened to me this week. Also, things always happen to me to find a lesson, or I just find a lesson in what happens to me. I'm not sure which, but whatever it is. So I was working on my website. I had taken it down for some time because I became much more religious since the days that I was in journalism, and I had certain outfits that, whoever knew me. I mean, I was not conservative by my wardrobe standards, and I'm just trying to not Photoshop any wrinkles, but just, a few garments that maybe are not as modest and snoot as they should be. So anyways, as I'm working on my website, the bigger point of the story is, if I can follow my own trail, I'm drunk. It's funny. So, you see, I forgot. Oh yeah, so we thought we lost all the content on my website. And a few months ago, I was threatened by Facebook, and it's happened like many times since I've been on Facebook. Not terrible threats, but you better watch your behavior. So it has you thinking, okay, I worked for the past 25 years in journalism, everything that I have, all my articles, this, that. I mean, they're backed up somewhere else, but it's a little pain in the neck to get them right now. So everything is on that website. All my posts are on Facebook. If all of that got wiped away, and just let's say that's my mask, when that's all wiped away, what's left of Aliza? All my questions of the day that I asked, all the articles of famous people that I interviewed, I was so excited at the time, took a picture with the who's who, wiped away, everything gone. And where's Aliza at the end of all of that? And it really made me realize, even though I really realized it already, but reinforced and always reminded, that the only things really that are left with me now of value in my life, and I had an exciting life. I don't know, some people might think I'm doing my weekly Torah thing because I'm looking for newfound fame, and the fact is I was on Fox News, I was a producer, I've interviewed a lot of famous people. I had my fame. I'm already in that age where, you're looking back at your fame. So when I think about all the things that I did, the only things that have lasting value are the Parasha Shavuos, which I started when I was 19 years old for Chabad. I started a newspaper for them, collecting little advertisings and articles, and I would contribute Parasha Shavua, not the rabbi, me because I loved it, I was good at it, the rabbi always looked it over, and so I've been doing this a lifetime. When I look back on all the people I interviewed, I don't even want to read the articles anymore. They're well written, they're nice. I see that at some point I had talent in my life, but I'm really not interested. It's the story's over. It's like yesterday's news, and today it's exponential yesterday's news. I mean, as it's happening, it's already yesterday's news. So what's left of all the effort that I put into my life? Only those Parashat Shavua. I look at them and I look at the ones that I wrote when I was 19, and I still learn from them. Because the me I was then had some wisdom, the me along the way forgot it, then I acquired some new wisdom, and then I look back and I'm like, wow, that was really smart, but they're the only things that last. That I interviewed this congressman or that actress, or I interviewed a model once. She was a model and she was a Playboy bunny. And a rabbi took her to task because she was a Jewish girl, and he said to her, don't you understand? You will only and always be Miss November. When December comes, what's left of you? And when I look back at all those articles, they were last year's news, that last year's big famous person, that, what's left at the end of all of that? Some of the people I interviewed are dead. A lot of them. Some of them were indicted. Some of them were caught with their hands in the wrong place. Leave all of that to your imagination. At the end, I look at my parashas and I say, that is the only thing that lasted all this time. What are we investing our lives in? What are we investing our souls in? What are we investing our effort in? The show, the masquerade, going to take off the earrings, the crown, you're going to put down your designer purse, you're going to retire from that great job where you had everybody running after you, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. What's left of you at the end? What's eternal? What's forever about the things that you're doing? Really, this website, because it's my identity, Aliza or daviddavid.com. That's me. You go there, daviddavid.com. It had all the pictures and all the cover articles, and for how many months or years even? It's years. I on and off, but years that I've been forwarding. You went to daviddavid.com, and it took you to my blog. So you were expecting to find all those famous people that I had interviewed in the past. It took you to a Torah article because it's meaningful. It's something. It's you. It's your soul. It's your purpose in life. Everything else is frivolous. But we don't see that because we are always tempted. What is the number one tempter in our life? The who, the what, the snake, the Malach HaMavet, Amalek, the Satan. All the same. One goal, to ruin you. Now, how does this tie into Pesach? Well, I'm not going to go into Queen Esther or any of those things. I'm going to talk about Achashverosh, who everybody thinks he was a stupid king, but it turns out he was pretty smart. Very clever, insightful into human nature. Achashverosh made beautiful party for 180 days, I believe. And any mistake I make tonight, I'm going to blame it on the alcohol. He made a beautiful party. Long party. Longer than our college parties, Maybe they lasted a night and a half or something, but that's it. But what type of party was it? Not just a simple party. And the only goal and the real audience, whenever you have like a party, even when I write an article, I always have just a few people in mind who are my audience. Because I know what they represent. They represent the greater whole. When you have guests, there's certain guests that everybody you want to make happy, yes, but there's a few like you're targeting them. Achashverosh, when he made this party, and he was the king over 127 provinces. Not a small job he had. He invited a lot of people to his party. The number one audience for that party were the Jewish people. He wanted to defeat them, but not by the sword, because anybody who has any insight into Jewish history and understanding knows the Jewish people do not fall by the sword. Yes, you can kill us, the Holocaust, all these things, yes, but to annihilate us? How many people tried to get rid of the Jews throughout history? And yet, we're such a small percentage of humanity, and yet we're thriving. 14 million Jews in the world? Approximately? We're the number one in so many fields. The quarter of the Nobel Prize laureates. If the number is less, again, we're blaming it on the white infidel. Whatever it is, we have reached above the threshold of expectations. We're a small number. People can't destroy us by the sword. Not completely. They'll do their damage, but they will not get rid of the Jewish people. So you want to get rid of a cold or something, you do certain things to get rid of it, but it's there to last until he decides you're going to get better. The Jewish people are here as long as he wants us here, which is, thank God, forever, because he promised us. So Achashverosh is smart, and he knows the one way to get rid of the Jews is to get rid of their strongest defender. What does it say? Divide and conquer? Who do they have to separate? He's not separating them from their army, from their guns, from their money. That wasn't what his plan was. He wanted to separate them from Hashem, because he knows, and he knew, that the only way to kill the Jewish people and to turn fate against them is when they go against God. So he invited them to a party, a beautiful party, a sensory delight. The food was amazing. The smells, it was in a garden. Beautiful trees, flowers, smelling, every sensory delight. But he had kosher food. He had kosher wine. I don't know if he had White Zinfandel by Baron Herzog, but he had the Persian version of it. That Persian version. You see, I made a rhyme even when I'm drunk. I'm not really that drunk. Everybody's so used to seeing me so uptight, so I had 4 ounces extra of alcohol that might be legally allowed to drive right now. So anyway, he made a party that was so appetizing to the Jewish people, but he didn't make it so bad that a Jew can't go in. Well, that's not for us, and we know we're not allowed there. There was kosher food, kosher wine, and everything else. It was a surround sound experience. So what did he do? He had the most beautiful women there to seduce men, provocative, promiscuous women. He had wonderful food. So you would start with your kosher food, and you would start with your kosher wine, and then you would get into the moment, and then you would get seduced, and then, okay, so you're a little drunk now, and maybe you won't have the next drink, maybe it won't be so kosher. Anyways, the Jews went in on a certain level, but they didn't come out the same level they went in. But this is how brilliant he was. And when I say surround sound, you should know one thing. He was so smart that he didn't have music at his party. For many reasons, and one of them is because he knew, and I learned this from Rabbi Wallerstein, because there are other reasons that I knew why he didn't have music. This one was a new one to me, is that music can bring your neshama to make tshuva. It can bring you to a level where you want to repent. You feel the godliness. You won't do anything wrong because music is higher than words, higher than language. I mean, the Kabbalists teach the greatness of music and what it can do. Just to diverge, which I do so well, King Chizkiyahu, he was destined, marked to be Mashiach. Why wasn't he? God helped him win a war. He thanked God, but he didn't thank God in song, with joy, with delight. Like when the Jews were liberated from Egypt, they sang a song as they left and they crossed the Red Sea. They sang because song is a high level of your neshama. It's free of restraints. It's free of charade. It's free of masks. It's free. Achashverosh was smart. He was afraid that the Jews would hear music. They wouldn't do the wrong thing. It would elevate their soul on some level. But visually, tangibly, the beautiful chairs he had, the beautiful sections he set up for people to sit, to partake, every sensory delight was there for the Jewish people. And he knew if they would sin, then he could get them. And it was only after they sinned and after they partook in this party that the decree that Haman brought upon the people to annihilate every Jew, and every Jew in the world lived in Persia at that time. So the decree was to kill every Jew in one day. Child, woman, grandfather, anybody, every Jew that was alive was destined to die. And it's a lesson for us that we have to know that when we go somewhere, there are many seductions. Today, maybe the coronavirus is just because God is trying to constrain us because the world became so disgusting. No restraints, no respect. I started a TikTok account. I wanted to teach Torah there. And when I went on, I was so grossed out with what I saw on TikTok that I just didn't continue. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, just teach Torah everywhere. But back to Achashverosh's party, you want to go somewhere and you think you'll do the kosher thing when you're there, like doing Thanksgiving, which is not something we should do, and going to ball games and all the things that some rabbis are always teaching that you shouldn't do. Don't go to places that are going to tempt you. Nothing wrong with a ball game. It's nice. Enjoy. Let other people enjoy. But the women that are dancing and the halftime and all these, the beers and you get sucked into the environment. Per se, there's nothing wrong with it as it is. But it's the one thing, the slippery slope, how one thing leads to another that gets us into trouble. The Achashverosh parties, they have kosher wine, they have kosher food. What's wrong with it? Nothing wrong if I talk to this girl by text, even though I shouldn't, whatever. She's religious, I'm religious, we're kosher. We have the hechsher on things. Hechsher means the stamp of approval. The stamp of approval by the rabbis, everything is good. So we could do everything wrong because we have the kosher stamp. You know, it's interesting about a pig. Why, from all the things, and, eating a horse is not kosher, right? But nobody thinks, oh, Jews can't eat horses. People are always saying Jews can't eat pig. Why did pig come to identify the worst thing that a Jew could eat? Because a pig is the biggest hypocrite on 2 feet. It represents one thing on the outside and it's another thing on the inside. Because in order to be kosher, an animal has to chew its own cud and have split hooves. So the pig goes around, look, I have split hooves. This is what I am. That's my masquerade. That's my mask. That's my Purim costume. But on the inside, I'm completely something else. I don't chew my own cud. Don't get sucked in by the externalities of life. Don't get, because somebody is religious and they're leading you on a path, that's wrong. You can't get sucked in because they're religious. And vice versa, because something is so appetizing and sensorily delicious that you think that the truth is there. Open your eyes. God gave us all the senses to see the truth, to absorb the truth, to feel it, to know it, to understand it. But we can use it in either direction. We can be seduced by our senses to do all the wrong things, or we can use our senses to know what's right and to know what's wrong. And I spoke about it in one of my previous videos, and I said even, the things that we look at, Netflix, all these things, they suck you in. You don't realize it, but you see this girl and she's so pretty and she wore that, so I can wear it too, and the neckline is here. And I'm one to talk because I've worn outfits that are embarrassing. They were embarrassing. I didn't see I figured, God is not judging us by the neckline and by the hemlines. I didn't know better. I thought God wasn't Joan Rivers. That was my big famous sentence. God is not damning us by the necklines. But it does make a difference. And in this week's Parasha, we learn how God tells the specific outfits that the Kohanim have to wear in order to go and serve in the Beit HaMikdash. Why does God care what they wear? Why does he care? Because our clothes and everything makes a difference. They affect you. You dress like a queen, you feel like a queen. There were days and years where I wore outfits that were not queenly. They were other. I didn't behave that way, as the outfits portrayed. But I had a nice figure. I was a cute young girl. I figured, why not wear that? But I was wrong. And there was 1 year that instead of wearing those outfits that, whatever, I said, okay, I'm going to dress like a queen this year. And it changed me. I said, wow, you know what? The difference in, you feel like you have to cater to a different audience, different mannerisms, everything. My point being, everything we do makes a difference. What we're watching, Achashverosh knew what we're listening to, the type of music that we're listening to. Again, Rabbi Wallerstein, he was saying that when the gates of heaven and the gates of hell, they're like right next to each other, and there's like godly music on one side, and on the other side, the seductive music that pulls you to hell, because all the love songs, and they seduce you, and they pull. When you live in like that world, you think like I'm so exaggerating, and I know because I lived in that world. My favorite singers were Charles Aznavour, and you can't get more French and more seductive music that I grew up on. And I realize how it damages you. I realize what it did to me. Thank God I had another spirit inside of me that was directing me another way. So somehow, I guess I'm ground zero. Talk about like telling it all, you see? Wine went in, the secret. Ground zero, because I was pulled this way and I was pulled that way. I'm lucky. Some people are only pulled one way. And I did a genealogy search recently, and I found so much about my family and found out stories that pulled me one way. And then I got a picture from somebody, a man with a beard, long beard down to here. And he wrote a book about Torah and about Shabbat, and he was a Rebbe, and he was my great-great-grandfather. And he loved to play with words and do poetries and Rosh Tevat, he taking the first letter of the Hebrew thing, doing all types of acrostics, anachronisms, all types of things. And I realize now why my soul was pulled in so many directions. But I know now, looking back at life, having been a journalist, seeing the who's who and the what's what, and I'm telling you, it's zero. It's zero. It's such a meaningless world. Such a meaningless... How many of those people are so depressed and on drugs and medication, and their kids commit suicide, and like I said, they were in jail or indicted, or... It's a fake, false world. Like Purim in a way, what's on the outside is not necessarily what's on the inside. Have that discretion. I talked way too much. Oh my God. Okay, I wanted this to be like so short, but hey, I hope you picked up some message. I was going to edit this, but I'm just not. I'm going to be like raw and Purim, and okay, so I hope you'll still be my friend in the morning. Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom, and all the best, everybody. L'chaim, l'chaim. Okay.